How's everybody doing? This video today is about my experience of getting a late diagnosis of ADHD. And I've been reading up about ADHD off and on for a couple of years now, ever since I got my diagnosis, because I was trying to understand what it means for me now. And some of you may be able to relate to this because I've been reading that hundreds of women are getting this diagnosis past 40 years of age. And to me, getting that diagnosis that later in life means the approach may need to be different than if you find out when you were in sixth grade. And we all know that if you pay attention to education and children and things that happen to them in their learning process, early on when ADHD was diagnosed more, actually not more, but more of the diagnoses that existed 30, 40 years ago were focused on boys and them being hyperactive and then leading to a potential diagnosis. But now we find that way more women have ADHD and it presents differently, and it has presented differently for a long time. So I'm glad that there's more awareness about that, and it affects how we look at ourselves and each other. And so this discovery of mine over the last 2 years has been really powerful for me in terms of having some clarity about the way my brain works, and also the type of things that I would need to do to feel better about my choices, about the way things have played out in my life and the way they continue to play out in my life, because there is a factor, and that factor is the way my brain processes information, the way it causes me to lose focus. And the reason why I have a list right before me, because I could lose my point very easily and go off on tangents, and I can also forget something, as you can relate, if you can probably relate if you have ADHD. But today, not only am I talking about the late diagnosis of ADHD, I'm talking about how once you get the diagnosis, what it does to you. And I know in my case, I started to rewind all back to these moments where I felt something could have gone differently if my brain hadn't been different. I also thought about lost opportunities. I thought about things that I didn't even consider because I knew that I couldn't trust myself to, or thought I couldn't trust myself to get through the process. And that is a type of reckoning with yourself that a lot of people do when they reach a huge milestone in their life and they do any kind of self-reflection about their life, especially if you go into therapy and do any kind of personal or self-development. But in my case with ADHD, I saw a lot of things that I had to take the time to grieve about. I also saw that the different ways in which I looked at design in the way I felt I needed things to be designed had a lot to do with my ADHD. And in many, many cases, that particular thing is a part of creativity and my unique expression of my creativity because of the way ADHD works in my particular brain. And so if you are someone who experienced late diagnosis and you recognize now that the scattered focus, the lack of focus, the times when you can hyper focus so much that when someone speaks to you, you do not hear them. And when they actually do get through, you are instantly irritated because they broke this flow that you were in. Whether you were doing something that was just supposedly wasting your time, or whether you were in the flow of something creative or something that you were intent on. It could be a TV show or a movie that you were interested in, or something that you were mulling over to create for yourself and bring into being. And maybe you also experience, let's see, the busy mind, the constant churning of thoughts, the way in which some of us who have ADHD look at what's going on in the world, and we just, in my case, the way I kind of make myself laugh with it is that I see things that are going on in the world and see things that are going on in people's lives, and I'm just automatically going to that robot in Lost in Space and thinking, danger, 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 Will Robinson. It's like there is this idea within some thoughts about ADHD that we can be the ones that see what's coming down the pike, in terms of danger, in terms of things that we might need to prepare for, whether they be good or bad. And that can be a part of ADHD for many of us. And then also, we also experience anxiety, and that's a big one for me. I did not realize how much how much anxiety was a part of ADHD, and it is for me. And I had to look back over all the different things I've done for stress reduction, whether it be meditating, grounding myself by walking barefoot outside, walking in nature, exercising, doing breath work. I have done a variety of things to reduce stress and to feel more centered. But the more I read and understood about ADHD, I began to realize that the journey for having peaceful moments in our brain, for getting some sort of balance within about what it is we're trying to create foundationally for ourselves so that we could tackle whatever it is that we're trying to tackle. Balance so that we can look at our tasks that we need to take care of and actually zero in and focus and begin. Because one of the things that I experience is task paralysis. Some people experience decision paralysis. And there's different things that happen in ADHD that make just getting to things so hard. And so if you can relate to that, I hope you know that you're not alone. And there are things you can do. Does any of these practices that I do make my life completely neurotypical so that I can handle everything with ease? No. The brain is the brain, and much as we may take meds or supplements or do various things to shift things, the brain is the brain. And so in this video, I definitely wanted to share with you that what rose to the surface for me was my interest in energy work and my practice of energy work, my experience with meditation and accessing teachers and healers and guides over the years. And I just sort of realized that piecing some of these things together for myself was a way for me to create grounding, create some peace, a break from a racing mind, and it helped me create a new groove. Actually, it's not a groove, a new almost frequency that I could turn to. I guess you can, another way of putting it, it's a thing that I can turn to, like a resource on a shelf that I know that if I feel like I'm about to go on a downward spiral, but something that didn't turn out the way I wanted it to, and it was because of my brain and the way I think, or the stress of trying to make things happen when your brain will not cooperate, all those things. Something about doing a mix of somatic work, a mix of energetic work with others, whether you do it one-on-one with a guide or a group, could shift things for me and give me a stronger foundation with which to have or revisit clarity when clarity is hard to have. Revisit groundedness when I'm not feeling grounded at all. Or I know that I'm about to go do something that easily knocks me off my grounding. And so I encourage you to consider some form of energy work, because going within to shift things means not only shifting your energy, but how your energy interacts with different parts of your body, whether it be your ankles, your stomach, your root chakra, your lower back, and also your brain. So when I do energy work, when I take the somatic road to exploring my energetic self, a lot of that looks a little bit like meditation, but it's more active. And when I say that, I mean that it is about using your brain and your mind in a way that actually might be pleasing to the ADHD aspect of it. And it's about bringing your focus to different sensations in your body, and sensations that you may not realize exist. You may not realize that for hours your lower back has felt a little off, or that your stomach is tight, your solar plexus is tight, or your jaw is tense. Maybe the muscles behind your eyes are tense. Paying attention to those kinds of sensation open the door to you discovering how the energy flows in your body, where it may concentrate and get a little stiff and stuck. And in doing that, you become a part of the flow, and you can, in time, learn to direct the flow. And in the act of doing that, you take some of the power back that you may have lost because of the way ADHD works in your life. And the work that I do as an energetics guide is about helping you by going through the body, by being somatic in your perspective, to understand your energy system within you, to get to the point where you can direct energy. With your focus, you can possibly dissipate energy in parts of your body. But it's about getting in touch with that part of yourself. And in a mystical level, it helps you get in touch with how your energy interacts with the world. Because we are all energy, and we are all interacting with the world on an energetic level. Physics tells us this, the cosmic mystics tell us this, and it's just a fact. And so you can look at that in a spiritual way, you can look at that as a scientific process, but either way, this work is about getting to know yourself and going within. It's about finding out that your energy is a force and that you could possibly wield it given regular practice. And I encourage you to consider work like this beyond anything you do, such as talk therapy or talking to others who have similar challenges with ADHD online, because the energy aspect of this can open doors for you. And part of the process that I do this work, I know that working with other people helps set up an energetic accountability, which when we do accountability support for others as well as get it from others, sort of the mystery about why accountability support helps people take action is an energetic thing, because someone else is in your presence. Someone else is either online supporting you or in person supporting you. And the energy of that is part of why you feel supported enough, and that energy, that presence, causes you to get a little bit more motivated to take action, to begin and complete tasks. So this is me talking about something I have experienced, and if you relate to this, if you're curious to know how a somatic perspective of doing energy work in an active meditative process is something that could possibly help you take your ADHD creativity and fire and talent and turn it into something that you really want for yourself in your life, as well as use it in a way to be healthier and also be healthier despite the challenges that you can't particularly change about it. So hopefully this was helpful and gave you some perspective about a way in which you can deal with the late diagnosis of ADHD as well as ADHD in general. And definitely consider hitting the like button, subscribing, and my information is below if you would like to work with me. I have some groups coming up and in the next coming weeks, and we'll have more later. So I wish you well. Take good care of yourself, your energy, and until next time, bye.